What exactly is the point of studying the gene keys or human design or hermetic philosophy or astrology? I want to share my intention because, as you know, the intention that you carry into something really impacts the way in which the results manifest in your life. And what I see is a lot of people engaging with these systems in a selfish manner, to be totally honest with you. It's about understanding themselves so that they can get what they want in life. And I'm going to argue that that is in fact the opposite of what these systems are designed to do. So my teaching isn't about the gene keys or human design or Christianity or Islam. Ultimately, there's one thing that's underneath all of those teachings and systems. It's the thread that connects all of the wisdom teachings through all of the ages, and that thread is love. That is what is at the core of all of these things. And these systems are about learning that everything else, anything other than the frequency of love, is an expression on a deep, deep level of some sort of illusion, some sort of wound, some sort of past or future that our mind is locked into. These systems are about opening your heart at their core level. And opening your heart involves one key piece. And that is choosing to look. The difference between a king and a man is that when a man turns his back, the king turns towards and looks at his people and looks at their suffering. Because letting that in is the only way to be able to work with it, to transmute it, to use it. So we have to start to choose returning non-love with love. And what that means is the collective is at the shadow frequency. And there's a lot of people that are wounded themselves and they don't realize what they are doing. And you, someone who is watching this video, has a deeper understanding in some way, shape, or form. It's no better. Be careful there. It's no better. But it's a deeper understanding, and that deeper understanding puts the responsibility on you to usher out more love into this world. Our hearts stay closed because we are not willing to look. We want to distract ourselves away. It's the constant looking at the phone, engaging with drugs or alcohol or sex or shopping or whatever your thing is, anything, but to not have to look at the suffering that's happening in the world. And when you don't look, you're not able to see the wound on its deepest level. We all have this core wound, this thing that we come into the world with because we feel separate. And it's about connecting to that wound. And when you connect to that wound, it also opens up the other side. We don't get only joy and we don't get only suffering. When our heart is open, we are able to see both. And so not only can we see the wound, but we can see the immense beauty that is in this world. And that ever so slowly, when we make that choice, returns us to a state of innocence, returns us to our childhood before we brought on all of these conditioned patterns. Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard for us to go back to that innocent state? Why is it so hard for our ego to die and to be reborn? The reason it's hard is because we are living in the past or we are living in the future. We are doing anything but staying in right now. When we are in the past, we're running everything through the filter of all the things that happened to us. And we predict that those same things are going to happen again. And so we get lost in that hurt and in that pain. When we're in the future, we're worried, we're fearful, we're trying to control, we're trying to force outcomes. And both of those things keep us out of that heart space and don't allow us to stay present enough to look in this moment. More than that, though, it is a huge risk to open your heart and to look. Actually, I take it back. It's not a risk. It is a guarantee that you are going to get hurt. When you live in the world with an open heart as a sensitive being, part of the deal is you're going to get hurt over and over and over again. But we have to make the choice to allow that hurt in. Most people are stuck. They're not able to allow that in. And what happens is they act out. But it's not actually them. And it's not actually you when it happens to you. It's the wound. It's the conditioning. It's the past. And at a certain point in your evolution, it's no longer about you being right. It's no longer about you being heard. Instead, we let go of that. We let go of that so that we can usher in the frequency of love. It is childish to need to be heard. I take it back. Every human has a need to be heard. It's childish to force somebody else to hear you. Some people are willing and open to hear you. Some people are not willing and open to hear you. And so it is about discerning who those people are. And if somebody's not willing and open to hear you, fighting with them, getting them or trying to get them to see your point of view is exactly what's pulling you out of that frequency of love. So it's our job to let people misinterpret us. That's none of our concern. Let them get angry at us. Let them feel right. It's okay. You don't have to feel right all the time. You don't have to have somebody else agree with you. You don't have to fight with them. You don't have to argue. And your ego is going to feel hurt when you do that. Trust me. And that's part of this. It's about learning to let go of that egoic feeling. You'll want to close down. You'll want to fight. You'll want to hide, depending on whether you're a reactive type or a repressive type. But the work here is to stay at home in the heart. Stay true to what is real. Living open-hearted means trusting that you can parent yourself back to life. Meaning, when you get hurt and your heart shuts down, which is part of this, it will happen over and over and over again. And what you'll find, the more you're on the path, the longer you're on the journey, the shorter the time it takes to get your heart to start to flower open again. You know, it used to be months, and then weeks, and then days, and then hours, and then moments, depending on the day. But you'll be able to find your way back. And the way that you do that is by caring for yourself. You know, slowing down, meditating, doing things that are fun. We have to learn how to nurture ourselves back to an open-hearted place when we do get hurt. Then, in addition to that personal drama and pain that shows up in our lives, we also have the collective pain and the collective drama that we feel as sensitive beings in our heart space, right? This impersonal pain. What's happening in Gaza right now? What's happening in Ukraine right now? What's happening in California right now? There's so much suffering on this planet. And to live with an open heart is to take that in and to be hurt and to really let it permeate all the way to the core of your being. And if your heart is open, you will feel shattered by that. How can you not? Having known your own suffering, how can you not feel it when you know the depths of suffering that those other people are feeling? And then we get into the thoughts of how can humans do this to one another? And it's so easy to just say, screw it, I'm not dealing with it. I'm not looking, I'm turning away, and I'm minding my own business. And so we cry, we scream, we blame, we fight. We do anything but be with it and sit in it. But when we let it in deeper, we start to see what's actually happening, and we understand what's happening through the eyes of the people who are involved. And it's both sides. When we have true understanding, when we are open-hearted, we remember that everyone has this same heart, this same love at the center of their being, and therefore we don't have opinion, or maybe we do, but we can see both sides regardless of that opinion in everything. And when we are able to see both sides, the blaming and the fighting turns into fuel for creation and for service. We turn that back in on ourselves, and we use it as drive to create and to try and help and solve and share and make art. And when enough of us do that for enough time, these things will start to shift. That very suffering is the fuel, but we don't get the juice without an open heart and a commitment to look at the suffering. So we feel stuck in it. When we don't let it in all the way, when it's just in the periphery, we get the suffering and we don't get anything else. When we let it in deeply, then we're able to start to transmute it and use it. And you're going to hurt, but you're also going to see the beauty in it. You're also going to see the beauty in humanity, how people come together in LA right now and looking out for one another. When the hurricane came through North Carolina and those communities flooded and got decimated, how it all came together. We see the temporal nature of all things, and the beauty starts to shine through. By opening to the pain, we also open to the ecstasy. The law of polarity, which is a hermetic principle, which tells us that there is a continuum of energy, if you will. When our heart is open, we feel the whole continuum, not just one side or the other side. If you're only feeling one side or the other side, or if you're feeling nothing at all, that is an indicator that the heart is not open, that you're stopping the flow of things. And stopping the flow means you're going to be cut off from the beauty. You're going to be cut off from the emotion. And what happens when we are willing to look is we get this flood of love, because we see how valuable every moment we get here on the planet actually is. How important it is to be a part of the collective and to insert ourselves into humanity, not to withdraw because it's a mess. To walk towards because it's a mess. That is our duty. We're able to play again when the heart is open. We're able to find innocence. So think about children. Think about how they swing. In one moment, they're so happy, so much joy, and then something happens and they go into this immediate tears, breakdown, sadness, the world's falling apart. That's an open heart. It's a swing. The difference is, as we get more mature and grow and develop, is we learn how to alchemize things. And we learn how to work with those energies instead of letting them completely overwhelm us. We learn how to alchemize. But at its core, that's what's happening underneath. That's a flow. That's an open heart. And to have a deep impact in this world, you must open your heart, because people can feel it. That energy of compassion and care allows other people to feel safe, allows them to really take in your words and take in your message. And people will feel intuitively if you are open or if you are not. And their frequency is going to shift to match your frequency. So if you have a closed down heart, their heart is going to stay closed and your message is not going to get through. If you have an open heart, you're going to pull them up. They are going to be cracked wide open. It's the reason that gurus have the level of impact that they have. Their aura is doing the work, not the words. Then they can hear all the way to their core, and they can really and truly change. So we've got to commit to living this way. I'm begging you to commit to living this way. It is the only way that we're going to be able to shift this world and what is happening. And I need you. I need your help. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. My next wisdom call, which is an opportunity to connect with me, is in a couple of weeks. If you are someone who is working on this, I would love to see you there. They're free. We do them on Google Meet. I'm trying to create a container that helps us usher these changes out into the world. So if you feel called to be a part of that, reach out to me in whatever way feels good. All right, thank you. Till next time.